Welcome to Moonbeam Friends, where stories help you relax and learn English. Tonight's story is called The Little Lantern. Let's begin. In a quiet village tucked between soft hills and whispering trees, there lived a little girl named Mira. She was just 7 years old, with curious brown eyes and hair that danced in the wind like autumn leaves. Mira lived with her grandfather in a cozy wooden house with flower pots in the windows and wind chimes that sang gentle songs every time the breeze passed through. But Mira had a secret. She was afraid of the dark. Not just the dark outside, but even the dark corners of her own room. At night, shadows would stretch across her walls, and strange shapes would flicker in the moonlight. Though Grandpa always left the hallway light on, Mira still pulled her blanket up to her chin and closed her eyes tight, hoping morning would come soon. One evening, after the last rays of sunshine melted into the hills, Grandpa sat down beside Mira on the porch. The stars were starting to twinkle, and fireflies floated through the air like tiny lanterns. "Mira," Grandpa said, "do you want to see something special?" Mira nodded, hugging her knees. From his coat pocket, Grandpa pulled out a small, round lantern. It wasn't big, just the size of an apple. Its glass sides were decorated with tiny stars and clouds. It didn't have a bulb or a candle inside, just a gentle glow that pulsed like a heartbeat. "This," Grandpa whispered, "is a lantern made from a wish. It's been passed down through our family for years. And tonight it's yours." Mira's eyes grew wide. "But how does it work?" she asked softly. Grandpa smiled. "It only works when you face your fears. The darker it gets, the brighter it shines. And when you're ready, it can show you the truth behind shadows." That night, Mira placed the lantern by her bed. Its soft light made her room look warmer, calmer, like a blanket of stars had been thrown over everything. She slept deeply for the first time in many nights. But the real journey began the next evening. Mira took the lantern outside after dinner. She walked beyond the garden, past the fence, and into the woods. The path was unfamiliar, and the trees stood tall and still. Shadows danced across the leaves. Her heart beat quickly. As the forest darkened, the lantern grew brighter. And then something magical happened. When Mira held the lantern close to the shadows, they changed. The scary shape of a crooked tree became a sleeping owl. A strange figure behind a bush became a deer nibbling leaves. And a long, dark shadow on the ground. It was just a stick and some fallen leaves. Mira gasped in wonder. "The shadows aren't monsters," she whispered. "They're just waiting to be understood." Each night, Mira returned to the forest, exploring farther and farther. She discovered hidden glades, glowing mushrooms, and a stream that laughed as it rushed over smooth stones. And every night the lantern led the way, soft and steady like a heartbeat of courage. One night a storm rolled in. Wind shook the trees, and thunder rumbled across the hills. Mira hesitated at the edge of the woods. She could turn back. But then she looked down at the lantern in her hand. It was glowing brighter than ever. She stepped forward. Lightning flashed, revealing a narrow path she had never seen before. She followed it, deeper into the forest, until she reached a clearing she had never visited. In the middle stood a huge stone, cracked and old, covered in moss. Mira held up her lantern. The light shone on the stone, and writing appeared, words hidden by time and shadow. She read them aloud. "Bravery is not the absence of fear, but the courage to walk through it with love." Tears filled Mira's eyes. She wasn't afraid anymore. Not of the dark. Not of the unknown. She had learned that the things we fear are often the things we don't yet understand. And with a little light, even the darkest night becomes a story worth exploring. She walked home through the storm, lantern glowing in her hands. When she reached the porch, Grandpa was waiting with a warm blanket and a smile. "You found the heartstone," he said, wrapping her in a hug. Mira nodded. "And I'm not scared anymore." That night, she placed the lantern by her window. Its light glowed gently into the night, a promise to all who were still afraid of shadows. And from that day on, whenever a child in the village said they were afraid of the dark, Mira would hand them the lantern, one by one, and say, "It's okay. The light is already in you. Now that we've heard the story, let's see how well you remember it." Mini quiz. 1. What was Mira afraid of? 2. What gift did Grandpa give to Mira? 3. What special thing happened when Mira held the lantern near the shadows? Thank you for listening to Moonbeam Friends. If you like this story, please share your thoughts in the comments. What would your lantern shine for? Don't forget to subscribe for more relaxing stories and English listening practice. Good night and sweet dreams.